It looks like we got him, or he got himself. Either way, Scott Pruitt's out. Good riddance, but don't celebrate just yet. The guy who's replacing him might be no better. We will turn to that at some point, but we were talking about Scott Pruitt. He has been the target of the hashtag Boot Pruitt campaign for some time. There are about 2,000 reasons why he never should have held that position in the first place, and certainly shouldn't have held it as long as he did, but he is now out. And the major staffing change, the EPA head transitioning out, was announced in the same way that all major White House staffing changes are announced, on Twitter. So we have a tweet from Donald Trump saying, "I have accepted the resignation of Scott Pruitt as the administrator of the EPA. Within the agency, Scott has done an outstanding job of shredding regulations and dooming us all to a post-apocalyptic future." Sorry, he didn't leave. He would have put that in, but there weren't enough characters. Sorry, he actually did tweet more though. "I will always be thankful to him for this." The Senate confirmed Deputy EPA Andrew Wheeler on Monday to assume the duties as acting administrator of the EPA. "I have no doubt that Andy will continue on with our great and lasting EPA agenda. We've made tremendous progress, and the future of the EPA is very bright. Insofar as the future of an organization that is now a dark, tiny shell of what it once was can be bright."
It's a little ironic because there's so many, I guess, officials that have been put in position with the Trump administration that have been put in their positions. And we're going to talk about, hopefully talk about Ben Carson at the HUD. And the point is to dismantle that organization and make sure that whatever it is the previous person in that position did is undone. And it's actually the opposite of what the head of that organization has to do. Everything that Scott Pruitt was doing as far as his official work and not the unofficial scandals that he was involved in, had to do with dismantling what was previously done, having nothing to do with actual environmental protection. That wasn't the idea. The idea was to do away with everything that they did with the environment so that you could usher in the innovation of more dirty air, dirty water, and rampant corporations to do whatever they wanted with no police watching.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Look, we long ago, back during the initial hearings when all these people were getting their jobs, we warned you that these people were being put in specifically to undermine and dismantle the organizations that they were put in charge of. Actually, later on the show, we're gonna have an example of that once again with Ben Carson. But I don't know if there is anyone who is a better example of that than Scott Pruitt. A few weeks ago, I tweeted a list of dozens of environmental regulation changes that have been made in just the first year. The list is endless.
Can I go a few of them? There's 33 that have been overturned. This is the beginning of this calendar year. 33 have been overturned, 24 rollbacks were in process, and 10 were in limbo. I'm just gonna name a few of those 33. Proposed ban on a potential harmful pesticide, because that's a bad thing. These are rolled back. They were put into place previous to him coming in. Methane reporting requirement. Why should you have to report any methane issues?
86 times worse for the atmosphere than carbon, but just
of course,
it out there.
The Keystone XL pipeline, anti-dumping rule for coal companies. Why? Who cares? The Dakota Access Pipeline situation, third-party settlement funds, offshore drilling ban in the Atlantic and in the Arctic. I could keep going. I mean, I'm scrolled down 3 times now and it's still
insane.
Going.
Every one of those disastrous.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, based on my background in my work, I focus mostly on climate change. She's been an absolute disaster, potentially irreparable damage done to our ability to fight climate change. But even if you're not interested in climate change, the pollution regulations that he's pushed back, people's lives are in danger because of the changes to regulations that Scott Pruitt made, obviously with Donald Trump. Scott Pruitt is one of the greatest. We explained back during the last election why the literal worst possible outcome is Donald Trump becoming president. It's because people like Scott Pruitt will gain power to both stop. It's 4 years where we don't get any new environmental regulations, nothing being done about carbon, nothing being done about pollution, except that, as you point out, rolling back all of the hard-fought victories that we've had during Obama and previous to Obama on any number of these different issues, pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords, all of that.
Which also again shows, I'm gonna let you finish, Doug, which also shows if you're riddled with all the scandals, which I assume you're gonna get into a little bit of, that he went through, as long as you're doing the bidding of what they want to do to tear down everything with the EPA, you're safe. You can openly do these things.
Yeah.
And again, if you go into them, it's fine. But if you openly do these things, you can get away with it in front of everyone as people approach in restaurants, as we saw just happen last week or earlier this week with a woman and her child. And it just doesn't matter because you're safe as long as you're doing the bidding president, which will take down everything that the agency wants to do.
Yeah, they don't care about the hand lotion. They don't care about that. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure why he was pushed out. It's possible he'll end up as the AG tomorrow. He could be on the Supreme Court by this time next week, for all we know. But I do want to mention some of the scandals. So here's a few. Transgressions, which have caused varying amounts of media interest over the past few months, spanned from his deal with the wife of a top energy lobbyist for deeply discounted housing, huge raises he gave friends against the instructions of the White House, flying first class, using his office to try to secure his wife a Chick-fil-A franchise, enlisting aides to get her lucrative work elsewhere. He specifically said that he wanted her to get a job with a salary of at least $200,000. He had a $43,000 phone booth. He wanted to secure a used mattress from a Trump hotel. That's literally news. I'm not making that up, although it sounds ridiculous. By the way, Scott Pruitt, we're gonna need you to give back the tactical pants and the hand lotion. No big deal. No questions asked. Wash them first, please, but we're gonna need that stuff back. No, this guy, he obviously had these huge scandals, but here is my frustration. We mention them because it's important, but I think that people are gonna focus on that part. The scandals are bad, but they are nothing compared to the environmental damage. Nothing compared to the damage done to our ability to control, out of control at present, climate change. And I don't, we have to focus on the scandals to some extent. We can't have these ethical violations. We can't have literally crimes being committed in office. But the environmental damage that he did is obviously far more
significant. And the thing is, they can't even be connected. Focus on the ones like, again, I actually missed this one. He and his son went to a University of Kentucky basketball game, and they were sent there by a billionaire coal executive. So it's the kinds of connections he had. Again, the $50 a room condo near the Capitol or wherever it was in DC, an upclass
$100
sections. Yeah, all that. But thing is, that condo was connected. Again, people forget this part. Man, he's paying $50 a night. No, that condo was connected to a corporation that had any interest in continuing to do whatever they wanted and get outside of any regulatory
they were getting
standards that they needed to do.
That was the bad part.
That's the part of it. So yeah, we can talk about how crazy it is, but it's connected as well. So it's swampy, and it's also irresponsible with money and funds the way he did it, and also self-important.
Yeah, now look, it's possible that he is a little bit worried about some of these scandals. One of the 16 investigations going on right now has been finalized, and he was found to have committed crimes in that. There are 15 others. Here's the thing. He might think, hey, I'm out the door. You don't have to worry about me anymore. Screw that. It's great to get you out of office. It would be better to get you into prison. You obviously broke the law in any number of different areas, and those investigations need to continue. Not least of which because he might well pop up in some other position. We know that Donald Trump loved Scott Pruitt. He was potentially his favorite aide in one fashion or another. And so the chance that he could pop up in another position is significant, and that is why these investigations need to continue.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.